So welcome once again to Breakthrough with Jeff. This is the place we live life with zero limits. We believe there are no limits apart from the ones we put in our minds. And we've been talking, about mindset. And we've had a series of speakers coming to the Breakthrough Show talking about the mindset of success. And today we have Coach Patience who will be telling us about the upcoming book and also about her chapter. So please, Coach, you can introduce yourself and then take it up from there.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Coach Jeff, for having me on your show. It is exciting. It just feels great to talk about something that is real. It's not
Yeah,
hypothetical.
yeah,
A success mindset is possible. I am a
yes.
mindset coach, and
Mm,
I have seen through my life that
mm-hmm,
what you see is exactly what you get. And so
mm,
it's very, very, very important to understand how to handle your thoughts, one thoughts, and get the results that you desire. So
yeah,
um, this is just what I want to talk. That God gave us this great gift called the mind, and we create
yes.
anything we want with it. The power is in
Mm,
our hands. Yes,
wow, fantastic. So all
yes,
of us have been given a gift, the gift of our
yes,
minds, and it's in how
yes,
we use it. Is that what you're
yes.
saying, Coach?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That God did not give an unfair playing field. He gave a level playing field. But
I
what we
like
do
that.
with what we have is really what
Yes.
determines the results.
Yes. Wow. I
Yes,
like that.
yes,
I like so
yes,
no one can blame God and say, "Oh, you did not give me like you've given so and so." Our
mm,
destiny is in our hands in the way we
yes,
use our minds. I like that.
yes, yes.
Wow. Fantastic. So coach,
Mm.
tell us more about the book and your book, your chapter on what we are discussing here. Go ahead, coach.
Thank you, Coach Jeff. The book is really exciting. The Success
Yeah.
Mindset book is awesome.
Yes.
What I really love most about this particular book is that we are having real life stories. It's people saying, "This is me. This is what I went through. This
Hmm.
is how I've handled it, and
Yeah.
if I have done it, so can you." And I think
Mm.
that's fresh because many times you're given advice by people, but they've not walked the talk.
The journey. Yes.
Yeah, so it's all, yeah, I read somewhere you can do this, but nobody wants I had this from somewhere. You want to
Yes.
know, I dipped my feet into this river. I can tell you
Yeah.
how deep it is, and I can tell you how
Yeah.
I waded out safely from the other side. So I
Yeah.
find the book very exciting because it is real.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
and the people, the stories are amazing. The real
Mm.
life stories, because again, this is not a fiction book, it's non-fiction.
Yes.
So what it's everything that has happened, and the authors are real, as in this is
Yes.
me, this
Yes.
is what really happened, and this is
Yes.
how I have navigated through my story.
And I realize people want to connect with our stories, and sometimes people think
Yes.
uh, just because you are a coach, you don't have a struggle. And
Mm,
like you said, God is not unfair. God does not favor some people and not favor others. We are given
yes.
a plain ground, and is in
Mm,
how you use your mind. Like the Bible says, as a man thinketh, so is he. So it's our
yes.
thinking that is really giving us the success edge. Thank you so
Yes.
much, Coach. Now, so how has your journey been?
Wow. My
Yeah.
journey has been more than interesting.
Yes.
But if there's something that I have come out with is the power of our perception. So
Yeah.
in my chapter,
Yeah.
I dealt with perception.
Mm. Mm.
Perception is how
Mm.
you see things around you,
Yes.
and not just how
Yes.
you see them, is how you react to them. For
Yes.
example, I might see let's say a car hooting,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I have two ways. I can react to it in different ways. I might think, why is he making noise?
Yes.
Or is there a problem? Why are they hooting?
Mm-hmm.
And I'll stop aside to assess. So there are
You
very
ready to
many
talk?
reactions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do I need to stop? Do I
Yeah.
need to jump away? What is this person saying?
Yes.
But what we think is how we will react.
That's true. Oh, I
And
like
that is
that.
how and that is how
Yes.
life is.
Yes.
So my thought pattern will determine my reaction.
That's right.
So if I'm not careful about how I am thinking, and if I'm not conscious
Mm-hmm.
of how I am thinking,
Mm-hmm.
then I'm just going to react. I'll not even be sure what to react, because I could think at the same time, I could think he's making noise or there's a problem. Now, those are two thoughts.
Mm.
I have to choose one for me to
Yes.
react.
Mm.
Because there's a
Mm.
verse in the Bible that says, God does not like a double-minded person.
Yes.
I think it's in the
Yes.
book of James.
James.
And that's the
Yes.
thing about us. We think one way, then we do something else. So
That's
my
true.
journey has really been about my thoughts, how
Mm-hmm.
how I thought,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I was queen of negative thinking. And I mean really queen of negative thinking. I shot myself in my foot by my negativity.
Mm.
Um I never thought that anything. Funny enough, is I knew I was very gifted. I knew I'm talented. I know all these things. But here I
Yeah.
am, always sure that failure is a part of this show. And so I
Mm.
would step out into the world to do something, and there would be just expecting. And it was very unconscious. Over time, it became
Yeah.
a very unconscious thought that I was
Mm-hmm.
expecting failure. And
Mm.
so this is for example how it would be. I am preparing for my exams,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm studying because I expect to pass, right? Is what
Mm-hmm.
one would think I'm naturally doing. But
Yes.
deep down at the back of my mind, I have so tuned my mind to failure that I think even with all this preparation, I'm still going to fail. So guess what
Oh.
will happen? With
Yeah.
all the preparation, it won't happen.
Mm. Mm.
and
Mm.
uh, and over time it became that I expected failure. And as the
Mm.
years, from a child, as I grew up, then of course self-doubt and fear became a part of my life.
Mm.
And this was just what I carried. I just went on. And so it
Mm.
went on until one day, 14th January 2022,
Mm-hmm.
and it was my last day at work. And I was very
Mm-hmm.
sure I was leaving behind this life of failure. I had gone for an interview and I had gotten a job as a human resource assistant. Of
Mm-hmm.
course, it was way below what I'd been doing before. I was moving from managerial positions coming down, but I was
Mm-hmm.
recareering and I was
Mm-hmm.
excited to be recareering. I was
Mm-hmm.
willing to pay the price. So I wanted to start from the bottom
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and have practical experience. So I knew what I was looking forward to. And it was this Friday. So I left work at 5. An hour later, bam, we had this crazy road accident.
Mm.
And my life turned upside down, because from there I was hospitalized. I was actually bedridden. The
Oh.
sad part was I lost the job I had because I'd
Mm-hmm.
resigned. I
Yes.
lost the job I was going to because I hadn't reported. So while I had
Yeah.
an offer, I really didn't have the job. I didn't report on Monday. And
Mm.
I lost both sides, and that my world just crashed. And
Wow.
now there, God and I became enemies, because I was like, God, you've forgotten me. Now you
Yeah.
absolutely hate me. You don't bring
Mm.
me all the way here. I've gone back to school as an adult. Then, bam, there's nothing.
Mm. Mm.
And and I was devastated.
Yeah.
And and I knew Bas, Imeisha, you know how you just know your life is ended, there's nothing to look forward to.
Mm.
4 months down the road in April, I'm discharged on a wheelchair. So again, I
Oh.
cannot do anything with myself.
Mm. Yeah.
And then they sent me, I call him crazy because that my physiotherapist was a guy who did not believe in failure.
Mm-hmm.
And his journey to helping me walk was one very painful one.
Mm. Mm.
At the same time, I think a friend, that's when I read the book on the power of the subconscious mind.
Mm.
But
Mm.
I only used it, I was applying it to the healing because I was trying
Yeah.
to catch up with my physiotherapist. He's busy telling me I'm going to walk, and you know, he had
Mm.
targets that, you know, this after a month we're going to be here, after 2 months we're going to be here. And I was wondering, what is this guy saying? Both my legs are broken. I
Mm.
am I'm in my I've just turned 50, which is how I turned 50. It's not how I looked at turning 50. I thought I was going to turn 50 on a cruise, or you know, just happy to be turning 50. But here I was
Mm.
turning 50s, learning how to walk like a baby. In fact, I couldn't walk. So that whole thing was very helpful in
Yeah.
a way because I had to stop. My life stopped.
Mm.
And remember, I'm a negative person at this point. I don't see anything positively.
Good. Yeah.
But now I've had to stop, and I'm dealing with this book called The Power of the Subconscious Mind, and it's saying things that I'm thinking, this dude is crazy. Then
Mm.
I go like, oh, let me try. Let's
Yeah.
see how this, if I really put my mind to something and if I think about it, will it really work? Initially I was, will it really work? Then I
Mm.
noticed
Mm.
I was healing faster. I'm
Awesome.
wondering, wait, it actually is working when I would
Working.
dwell when I would dwell my mind on a particular part of my body.
Yeah.
So I discovered self-healing because I was
Mm.
like,
Mm.
oh,
Mm.
that's
Mm.
happening. Or if the
Mm.
physiotherapist tells me something, I was like, oh, okay. So that brought me to a new area that, you know what, this mind is very powerful. And there's
Mm.
something about this mind.
Yeah.
And as I applied it, I started realizing I could try it on other things.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
and so the journey began that, oh, so now we can change how I think and so on. It was a
Mm.
very gradual journey because especially in 2022 I was still full of negativity. I was looking at myself how I am now. I can't walk. I love
Mm-hmm.
walking, so I felt like everything had been taken from me. I had to become dependent on other people.
Yeah.
And so the journey, it was a gradual journey, but I started I'm looking for solutions. 2023 came, and I remember in November 2023 I
Mm-hmm.
got up and
Mm-hmm.
said I just came to a conscious decision that my life must change for the better
Wow.
and something must give. I mean, it cannot
Yes.
continue like this. I was now conscious that, apana, this is just not working.
I like that.
And I remember telling my close friend that, you know what, in 2024, my life must be different.
Mm.
And as
Mm.
I started doing that, I started Googling a lot. I went online. I was looking for answers for what I didn't know. I knew one, I had a sort of calling to a certain career, but it was not counseling. I didn't want to do counseling, but I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
And so December 2023, I stumbled upon D.L.C.
Mm-hmm.
And that added up to me because I wanted to do something that was going to align with my values. I'm born again. I knew that I value integrity, I value
Mm-hmm.
wholesomeness. There were things that I was not willing to back down on. So, and
Mm.
for example, I'm not a partaker of new age theories. So I knew I didn't want to
Mm.
take that road. And so it had to
Mm-hmm.
be something that could align with my values.
Mm.
And I found this. I looked at, then I found something on coaching, and then as I read up what coaching is, I was like, yes, this is what I want. I
Mm.
want to apply my experiences
Yes.
to my to helping somebody else go through the same river or the same waters I went through. but I want them to understand that they're able to do it. I've come through, so can they. And so
Yes.
I had the discovery call with you, and we're like,
Mm-hmm.
yes, let's do
Mm.
this. Then
Yes.
I am agreeing. And I remember your words to me. You're very interesting because it was just before Christmas. And you said, well, we'll
Yeah.
talk around the 5th of January. And as I
Mm-hmm.
hung up, I wondered, what is Coach Jeff talking about? That course is
Mm-hmm.
expensive by my standards. But now,
Yeah.
having read the
Yeah.
power of the subconscious mind, and from what you told me, I started creating it in my mind. I started creating that I can do this, and
Mm.
I'm not sure how the
Yes.
how will flow, but something
Mm.
in me
Mm. Mm.
accepted it.
Wow.
And then come 1st of January, here I am, I've
Mm-hmm.
accepted,
Mm-hmm.
and bam, my dad passes on the 1st of January. And I'm
Yeah.
wondering, am I going to pull through this? But
Mm.
I'd already committed that I wanted to do this.
Yes.
And so there it was. I remember I joined after because I first had to bury my dad and then I came. So the first class had gone on. I remember the
Mm.
first assignment was
Mm.
actually sent to me before the funeral. And I told
Mm.
Anne, I cannot do it then, I'll come and do it later.
Yes.
But I started. I said, let this be a gift
Mm.
to my late dad. Let my late dad know
Mm.
that I stepped up to the
Wow.
plate. And so I
Nice.
joined and I
Mm.
started my journey on learning, and
Mm.
goodness, I think that was the most transformative thing I've done. The training I
Nice.
had as a coach,
Mm.
because
Mm.
it wasn't about theory,
Mm.
it was
Mm.
about turning the spotlight on me.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I had to look at myself really
Mm.
deeply. So here we
Mm.
are, we're talking about purpose, we're talking about
Mm.
patterns, we are talking about
Mm.
perspective. Of course,
Yeah.
what hit me the most was perspective, because here I
Yeah.
am,
Yeah.
having been going through all this negativity,
Mm-hmm.
and here I am learning that I am the totality of my perspectives. I
Yes. Yes.
control what I accept as a truth, as a
That's
belief.
right. That's right.
And I learned I had the power to choose what to believe and what to let go of. It's not cast into stone, it's not permanent. I learned
Yes.
these things are not personal. I mean, it's not
Mm.
a
Mm.
this problem is mine. It is mine because I have chosen to make it mine.
Yes.
So I
Yes.
can choose to drop it.
That's right.
Our weight just fell off my back. I mean, I just felt
Awesome.
light. I just became younger. I just was, it
Oh.
was like the chains just dropped off, because here I was like, oh, I have the power.
Mm.
It
Mm.
doesn't
Mm.
have to be, it can be
Yes.
different. And
Yes.
it was tickling, because from the minute you addressed me as Coach Patience, the
Yes.
first day I giggled. Thank God my mic was off. I giggled because I was like, who is he calling coach?
Yeah.
Now it's second nature. I mean, when
Yes.
people say
Oh,
coach,
nice.
I will
Yes.
turn, because I know that's me being addressed. I mean, even if we were two of
Awesome.
us, I will turn. I will be like, that's me.
Yes.
But but you see, dealing with perspectives made me start dealing with my self-doubt.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I had to ask myself, who am I?
Yes.
And
Yes.
being a Christian,
Mm-hmm.
my worth is related to my maker. That
Mm-hmm.
my manual was written a long time ago, because it's like a car.
That's
When
right.
whoever creates the model knows exactly what they've created. The
True.
only way to know how well your car works is
Mm-hmm.
to touch base with the manual, because that's what
Mm-hmm.
determines who you are.
That's right.
And I deliberately turned back to now my maker, because hey, you created me, so what did you
Mm.
create? And I
Awesome.
was amazed, because every
Mm.
single day I am learning how unlimited I am, because even now it's a process.
Mm.
Growth is a
Yes,
process. I
it is.
I, I am learning how limitless I am.
Mm. Mm.
For example,
Mm.
yesterday I had a fundi
Mm.
working, and he was feeling challenged, and he said, "You know, you're making me. I'm finding myself doing extra things that are not purpose to do for you."
Mm.
And I looked at him, and I don't even know where I just told him, "Listen, I told you that before I do something, I always touch base with God,
Nice.
and He brings me the right people at the right time.
Mm.
So since He
Mm.
brought me to you, of all the fundis He brought you,
Mm. Mm.
please go back to God and tell Him you have a problem with Him pushing you to do such excellent work for me." And my
Mm.
fundi looked at me, and he just laughed, shook his head, and walked away. Then I realized I've put my worth on my God.
Yeah.
So it means that I expect good things. I expect miracles. I expect that I will meet the right
Wow.
people at the right time. And
Nice.
that has been the transformation on what I got from, honestly, my training as at
Mm. Mm.
D.L.C,
Mm.
because you helped me see that I
Mm.
controlled what I thought.
Mm.
And I
Mm.
was and I
Mm.
was able to confront my deepest fears.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think we also had a time when, and it didn't go overnight. It's good for people to understand that it never goes away overnight.
Yes.
It is a process.
Yeah.
And we have to be willing to go through the process.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We have to be willing to put in the work.
Mm. Mm.
Because
True.
when I have to deal with my negative thinking, for example,
Mm-hmm.
I'm willing to cut deep to myself to look at how do I think.
Mm.
And I have to be willing to change that thought.
Yes.
I have to do something about it. So it's not something that is just a quick fix. It
Mm.
is quick fix in the sense that the minute I say, no, I'm not thinking this way
You're
anymore,
done. Yeah. Yeah.
I am
True.
done with it. But I
Mm.
have to be
Mm.
willing to go through the process of
The process.
self-awareness and
Yeah.
actually come up with,
Mm.
hey, this is
Mm.
not working for me. For example,
Yeah.
growing up,
Mm-hmm.
I had grown up feeling I was a victim. I thought that
Mm.
things were not working for me because of circumstances and so on and so forth. But that's not true, because some people have had it worse than I have had in life.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they are soaring.
Yes.
But you see, so long as I held on to that thought,
Mm-hmm.
I would never break free.
Mm.
And
Mm.
so it was very important to get to a point where I was willing to do the work of analyzing myself, and you have to shed off the layers, because some of these very deep seated thought patterns, you're
Mm-hmm.
not even conscious that you think that way.
Mm. Mm.
I'll give another example. I had come to accept failure at the edge of every breakthrough in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So while something
Mm-hmm.
good was going to happen and I have prepared for it, because it was
Yeah.
such a deep-seated thought, I would
Mm-hmm.
create it before.
Yes.
And you will find that honestly it will manifest, and I will, okay, go like, yeah, it just followed the normal pattern.
Mm.
But I was the source of the pattern. I have to get there and accept that, good things happen to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And they are part
Amen.
of my life, and it is expected, and I must accept that that is the way it is.
Yes.
And so that was my journey. Then we got to,
Mm.
of course, so we did purpose. I learned, I dug out what my purpose was. We did
Mm-hmm.
patterns.
Yes.
We did, and I had to recognize, how does a pattern flow, like, how do I think until I get to messing myself up, or how do I
Yes.
think until something. And some patterns are actually not even in thought. You have so ingrained them that they are a natural way of doing things. For example,
Mm.
if I decide that I don't like to wake up early in the morning to pray, or I don't want to get up early in the morning to do a task,
Mm. Mm.
guess what? It will forever be overtaken by events. So it will take a
Yes.
very long time for me to accomplish my goal
Mm. Mm.
because I have
Mm.
developed this pattern of procrastination.
That's right.
So I have to wake up and deal with my procrastination. So even when we learned about patterns, that helped tremendously because I was able to now look at myself and say, how do I do things? How
Mm-hmm.
do I consciously plot my life into this failure that I'm always experiencing?
Mm. Mm.
And
Mm.
and uh, and so we got onto that, and then I'm coming to my second favorite part is the
Mm-hmm.
project, the life vision.
Yes.
We had to put down in present tense
Yeah.
our life as we saw it.
Mm.
But again,
Mm.
life as I see it in my mind, because everybody dreams.
Yes.
And writing down the vision is writing about what you really see. And it
Mm.
brought me to my lenses. Which lenses was I going, what was I using? What was I seeing? How do I see life? Forget what is going on around me, but how do I see it when I shut my eyes, when I'm dreaming? What
Mm.
do I see? Because that's the real
Mm.
life I will create.
Yeah.
And so the whole training at Destiny Life Center was what life coaching was very transformative.
Mm.
It was so
Awesome.
transformative that people just said I was different.
Mm.
And
Wow.
I became completely different because I would, excuse me, I set boundaries. For example, you can't treat me like this.
Yes.
It's not, and I don't, and I start drawing the line like, this is
Mm.
acceptable, this is not for me.
Yes.
And I think became more accommodative because I wanted to understand why has that person done that, not necessarily just automatically jump into the negativity.
Mm-hmm.
And I started experiencing an inner peace that hadn't been there before.
Mm.
I'm
Mm.
now I'm a calmer person because of having gone through this training, and I think through something because you want to know the why. um,
Yes.
why did that
Yes.
happen? And
Yes.
how do I deal with it? How can I handle it better?
Mm.
So it
Mm.
keeps you more focused, and you're dwelling on issues, not just a lot of negative energy. And I'm very conscious of, was that negative energy, was that positive energy, what did I give
Nice.
out? Because the universe will respond to what I give out.
Mm. Mm.
So
Mm.
for
True.
me, I think the best gift I got was actually discovering D.L.C and going through the training.
Mm.
I just became something different, completely different. I am conscious of my
Wow.
life. Yes.
Yes. Wow.
Uh,
Wow.
yeah, so I am I'm really, and I train it to, I also, how do I find myself using the skills on other people.
Yes.
I'm not even, sometimes you're not even conscious that you're doing it, but you find that you've said something and you think, that I've just talked about pattern there, or I've just talked about perspective.
Yes.
It becomes a part of your life.
Awesome. Awesome.
um, what I would like to say in conclusion is that I
Mm-hmm.
found certain tools that worked for me,
Yeah.
and I'd just like to share them. There are 5 of them
Yeah.
that helped me on my journey. I still use them even now on my self-improvement.
Nice.
The first one was mindfulness.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
I became very mindful and conscious of, I have become, not even I have become,
Mm.
of
Mm.
of how I think, or what my thought process is.
Yes.
And not and I think thought process is sometimes different. There's the one that we do consciously, but there's the one that we do unconsciously.
Mm-hmm.
Mindfulness has helped me get to that unconscious, the subconscious thinking,
Yes.
the
Yes.
deep down one. What exactly was I saying to myself? Because there's a lot of
Mm.
self talk. So what was I
Yes.
saying to myself?
Mm.
I might have
Mm.
said, for example, I might have said, I'm going to make money this month. Then I
Mm-hmm.
subconsciously say, the economy is bad.
Mm.
You see,
Mm.
that self talk, that the economy is bad, is my way of
Yeah,
telling myself, you won't get the money.
that's true. Yeah.
So I've learned to be very mindful of my self talk and that
Mm-hmm.
subconscious thinking. And meditation has also been something that I found important. I take time, like if I my main meditation is on something that I've read, or like if I read a verse in the Bible,
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
take time with it. I want to take time with it and find out exactly
Awesome.
how does that apply to me.
Mm. Mm.
Exactly what is God saying here? Like
Mm.
what is the broadness or narrowness of this verse?
Yeah.
And it's changed the way I assimilate information because I want to listen. Mindfulness also makes you listen keenly.
Yes.
And as a
Yes.
coach, that is
Mm-hmm.
something very important because in session,
Mm-hmm.
I am listening very keenly to my client. I am mindful of what they are telling me. I'm not in another world. We're in the same world together.
Yes.
So I'm touching base. So it's helping me, and it's also
Awesome.
helping me in my coaching career.
Mm-hmm.
Another one that I brought up was taking time to on cognitive behavioral techniques, and I'll
Yes.
explain what I mean. Is that it helps
Mm-hmm.
me realize this is not the right way to think. This is not a right thought.
Mm. Mm.
This
Mm.
pattern is destructive,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I am able now to change it to something positive.
Mm.
For
Mm.
for example, I no longer expect something to fail. I now
Yes.
walk in a different way, and
Right.
this is how I don't come to the day. I don't
Yeah.
come to the day asking to be
Mm-hmm.
blessed. In fact, I have a very
Mm.
funny saying. I actually say,
Mm-hmm.
this day is blessed because I
Yes.
am around it. I am in it.
Yes.
So
Yes.
this particular day, like today, is blessed because patience is here. So
Yes. That's true.
because you see, the Bible says we are blessed to bless. God told Abraham, I am blessing you and you will bless the nations.
Yes.
So it means
Yes.
when I show up, my
Mm.
world is blessed because of me.
Totally.
The air is blessed because I am around.
Yeah.
My environment is
Yeah.
blessed because I am here. I
Mm.
now That's
Mm.
my mindset, that I bring this blessing, I bring the presence of God into my world, I bring good into my world.
Mm.
And
Mm.
naturally, then, if I am bringing this good into this world, then the world can only give me back good.
That's true.
And and
Wow.
regardless of what is happening, it is all
Mm-hmm.
working for my good. It doesn't matter what it is working for my good. It aligns.
Yeah.
So that's how what cognitive behavioral, I've been able to see what's not working and put in
What's
positive
working?
thinking,
Yeah.
and that has really really helped my emotional well-being, because I am not as stressed. I'm not stressed. I am able to say, all right, so that happened, okay, it will still work for
Mm.
my good, and I accept it.
Wow. Awesome.
The third one is gratitude.
Yeah.
When you're not thankful for what you have,
Mm.
I don't know why
Mm.
you want anything more, because
Yes.
one, God has given me enough oxygen to breathe. For example,
Mm.
I am not
Mm.
I am not buying oxygen. This thing is for free. If
Yes.
I'm not even conscious and I say thank you for the oxygen,
Mm.
why am I coming to expect that he should add good health?
Mm. Mm.
So I've learned to have gratitude journaling. So what I do is that every day I even if sometimes I don't have the time to write it down, but I'll count them. I'll say, like, today this happened, today this happened, this was good, this was good, this was good. It makes me feel better about myself. It
Awesome.
makes my relationships better. It
Wow.
and when I've and it makes you appreciate even the people around you more because you're able to see
Yes.
the good they are doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it also makes you love yourself some more because
Mm,
you're like,
mm.
hey, I'm in a better environment. And so when focusing on the good and not focusing on the downsides, because the reality of life is that there'll be what you'll find good, there'll be what you'll find bad. But you've got to be conscious that even that bad has good.
Yes.
Look for the
Yes.
good in something. For instance, the accident was good for me, really good. I keep saying because
Mm-hmm.
one, I had to slow
Mm-hmm.
down. I had to stop. In fact,
Yes.
it didn't even put a proper halt sign on the road of my, my road of
Yes.
life and said, let's
Yeah.
stop. And I had to
Mm.
ask myself the hard question. I didn't die during the accident. I didn't die when I
Yes.
went into theater
Yes.
like 3 times because I had to have 3 operations.
Mm-hmm.
I got up each time.
Yes.
So that means God was giving me
For a
another chance
reason.
at life.
Yes. Yes.
Why? So I
Yeah.
have to make my second time round work.
Mm.
I have to achieve
Mm.
my purpose. I want to
Mm.
finish this life strong. I want to know that I have done what I was called and put here to do. So
Awesome. I like
it
that.
made me stop and really work with, okay, why are you here, patience?
Mm.
What is it all about? What are
Mm.
you going to do with this second phase?
Mm.
And I'd have negative thoughts like, hey, your age, God. Then I would remember Moses
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
stepped up at age 80. I'm not yet 80. I have a long way to go.
Yeah.
I would think
Yeah.
about Caleb. I mean, he was
Mm.
84. So what's
Mm.
my problem? If with God, age is not
Mm.
a number. And I'd like to tell
Yes.
anyone who will listen that age is not a number. Where you
Mm.
are in life is not a determinant.
Mm.
The
Mm.
minute you
Mm.
start thinking right, the minute you decide, all right, I'm going to get it right,
Yeah.
imagine nothing can stop you.
Nothing.
Even
You
in the
become
Bible, it says
unstoppable.
that,
Mm-hmm.
yes, even in the Bible, I think we've never looked
Mm-hmm.
at that verse keenly, but look at what God said when it came to the Tower of Babel. He said, what these guys decide, they will do.
Yes.
Now think how long ago that was that these guys were determined to build a tower to heaven. They didn't have our technology.
Yes. Yes.
But here is God saying, these guys have decided it's going to happen.
Yeah.
If God knows that He gave us such a powerful mind,
Mm.
we
Mm.
need to align ourselves to His thought
Yes.
and understand there's nothing we can't do. Absolute, and I mean
Mm.
absolutely nothing. That's why
Mm.
you'll find a human being can have an intent for good or bad, and they will
Yeah.
achieve it.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
Something that I've not forgotten, you told me not too long ago. Have you seen how powerful you are? It hit me, because you're telling
Mm.
me I'm being powerful in creating a negativity. I have
Yeah.
the same power to create a positive. It's
Yes.
all it's really all about us and up to you.
Awesome.
Then the fourth tool is visualization and affirmations.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Mm.
What you see is what you get. When you close your
Yes.
eyes, what do you
Mm.
see? When you're dreaming,
Mm.
what do you see?
What do you
Because
see? Yeah.
what do you see? Like now,
Mm.
if you look at me behind me, there's that grand piano. I love the
Mm.
piano.
Mm.
It is
Mm.
it is also a visualization tool in itself.
Yes. Yes.
about about what I love my surroundings to be. I love music. I love good music. This is what I'm saying.
Mm.
When you sit down when you sit down to think about something, when you sit down to imagine your career or to imagine your family,
Mm-hmm.
what do you
Mm-hmm.
see?
Mm-hmm. What do you
let's
see?
stop seeing
Mm-hmm.
let's stop seeing the worst of our children. Stop seeing our children, for example, that my child will not do well in school. You're
Mm.
creating it.
Mm.
Stop
That's
saying that
true.
my child will be wayward. You're creating it.
Mm.
Even
Mm,
before you
mm,
say it, you're creating it.
mm,
So we've got to
mm,
stop. We've got to visualize the right things for ourselves, for our children, for our
mhm.
country.
Yeah,
When we look at our
yeah.
nation, what do we want? Let's
Mm,
visualize it, because guess what? As I visualize it, I will start contributing towards it.
yes, yes.
I don't want corruption. Then
Mhm,
it is my
mhm,
part, as I visualize myself as a corrupt free coach, I am
mhm.
playing my part. Another coach
Yes.
will be the same, of integrity. The people who
Mhm,
interact with us will have a
mhm.
problem with being corrupt around us. It
That's
will
right.
cause a ripple effect. It's not about the
Mhm.
government only, it's about us, the people, everybody. So when I get up
Wow.
every morning, I
Mhm.
learned something. I learned that I think there's a stage called alpha. When we wake up first thing in the morning,
Yeah.
our thoughts are, the first 5 minutes especially, our thoughts are particularly creative.
Yes.
And it's
Yes.
a very deep place, but amazingly it's a place you can create anytime. Like when you taught us about the breathing exercises, priming yourself. It's what you're
Yeah.
creating. I
Mm,
create that
mm,
atmosphere for myself, an
mm,
atmosphere
mm.
where I'm able to bring out the best of me before it
Yes.
happens.
Yes.
So I like to do that in the morning. I create my
Mm.
day just the way I want it before it happens. So by the
Nice.
time I'm leaving, I am stepping out into the world I have created for myself.
I
I
like
create
that.
success before I
Mm.
step out of bed.
Yeah.
By the time I'm getting down,
Yes.
the day is done. It's done in my
Mm.
mind. So
Mm. Mm.
visualize your day before you get out. Call it forth. Speak to your
Mm.
day. Tell your day it is blessed. Tell your day
Mm.
how
Mm.
successful you're going to be.
Awesome.
Um, I think at the beginning of this week, I needed to
Mhm,
run a project and I didn't
mhm,
have the funds for it.
mhm.
But I remember getting up in the morning and calling the funds and calling the project into being.
Mm, mm.
And then I got up. There's something we also learned at D.L.C. It's called, I create the vision and throwing it out. So,
Yes.
you visualize it and then you throw it out, you move away. You don't dwell on it, you move on into your. By the end of the day, by the time I
Yeah.
slept that day at midnight, the funds had
Mhm.
come in. And I didn't ask
Mm.
anybody, but it
Amen.
triggered such a ripple effect that somebody
Yes.
else was disturbed about some, because we had discussed it before. And I
Yes.
was amazed by the words she told me. She said, so that we can think about the funds required, were her words. And I just smiled,
Mm, mm,
because I knew
mm.
I had created that. I had created and had called forth the funds for whatever I needed just that
Right.
morning. It didn't take long. But you see, this is the
Yes.
power of
Yes.
the mind God has given
Yes.
us.
Yeah.
And we've got to step up and we've got to learn to
Mm,
believe it. Because
mm,
when you believe something, it
mhm,
stops being rational. It's not the mind, it's
mm,
the heart.
mm,
It's
mm,
it's you're touching your feelings, you're touching your emotions. That's the talk visualization I'm talking about. Not at the I I've just seen this car. No, you want a car. Think about the type of car, the model, see the colors, see the interior decor, see the thing completely,
mm,
believe me, it will come in its own
mm.
way. Because once you've created it, and that's the creativity power of God, that
Yeah.
the Bible tells us that he thought things, he
Yes.
called things as though they are, but he calls them from nothing.
Mm,
we are
mm,
we are we are an exact image of God. So we create first, so visualize first, then now you will see it come forth. It cannot
mm,
come forth when you've not seen it.
mm,
I don't think we
mm,
would be seated here today if you had not imagined this breakthrough show.
mm.
We
That's
would be
true.
talking about this outside, but
Yes.
because you visualized it, you saw it. I am a
Mm,
partaker of your vision. I am only here
Mm,
because you created it in your mind.
mm,
I
true.
personally have never even thought about being on a show to talk
Mm,
about it. I have never thought about it until when
mm-hmm,
you talked about it. I was like, hey, wait a minute.
mm,
This adds on
mm,
to my own vision that I am coaching, but I can talk about mindset, I can talk about success, I can talk about all this because somebody else has dreamt it and created it. So this is what
nice.
I'm saying. So every morning and every
Wow.
time I want something, I first see it in my mind, and I don't
Mm-hmm.
just see, I also talk. So the affirmations are
Yes.
very important to me. I talk
Yes.
about it and I talk to it. Because you see,
Mm,
the Bible says, Jesus told us, you will say to this mountain.
mm, mm,
So
mm,
don't just think, my friend,
mm,
say,
mm.
speak
Yes.
what you want to
Speak.
that situation. Speak.
Yes. Yes.
Everything
Yes.
in this planet hears. There's nothing like, I think this concept of living and
Mm,
non living is only in science.
mm, mm,
The reality of life is that even a rock hears because Moses
mm.
was told, speak to the rock. He
Yes.
got in problems
Yes.
because he struck the rock. Now, why
Mm,
would God
mm,
say, speak to the rock, bring forth water? Because a
mm,
rock hears. So
mm,
is,
mm,
are you having problems with maybe your soil? Speak to the
mm.
soil. You maybe you're farming,
Yeah.
you're not happy with the state of your crops. Speak to them.
Mm,
They've actually
mm,
found a scientific evidence that a plant that is talked to or animals
mm-hmm,
that are played for to nice cool music are more
mm-hmm,
productive.
mm.
They've
True.
done research and found animals like cows that listen to maybe classic music or nice instrumental music produce more milk. They are calmer.
Mm,
Why?
mm,
Because everything hears.
mm,
So even me, I
mm,
practice
mm,
affirmation a lot. I speak to
mm.
myself and I'll say, ah, Pana, that is not the way that is. This is how it is. I am blessed. I am favored. I am a great coach. I communicate
Yeah.
well with my
Yeah.
clients. I understand
Mm,
what they're saying. Once I'm saying that, I'm going into that session prepared to listen because already I have created that I listen.
yes.
Lastly, was something that is very difficult and touched me a lot when you taught us self
Mm-hmm.
love.
Mm, mm,
So I have learned to have self compassion. I am
mm,
kind to
mm,
myself. A day
mm,
didn't go the way I expected.
mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm,
cut myself some slack. I'm not hard on
mm-hmm.
myself. I have to accept it didn't go perfect. That did
Yeah.
not mean I am imperfect. It just didn't
Mm,
go well.
true.
It's
Yeah.
not, it doesn't mean I am less of a person. Because many
Mm,
times if we are not able to give ourselves self-love,
mm-hmm.
then we have nothing to give the world. You can only give what you have.
Yes.
We
Yes.
don't love
True.
ourselves, we cannot give
Mm-hmm.
people love.
Mm,
And
mm,
that has been another tool, just learning to love myself. That means when you get up, am I grooming? Am I taking care of my body well? Am I
mm-hmm.
exercising? Am I eating right? Am I saying kind words to myself? Because self talk is crucial to your well being. What am I saying to
Yes.
myself?
Yes. Yes.
How am I treating myself?
Mm-hmm.
Am I eating right, or am I just hating my body by eating anyhow? Am I
Mm,
exercising? Do I check out if I have enough fresh air? How am I
mm,
treating myself? And so that way, I am deliberately working on having a very healthy relationship with myself.
yeah. Yeah.
I take time to pray. I
Mm,
take time to relax. I take time to be with loved ones.
mm-hmm.
And I take time to accept my business may not be where I want it to be, but we are headed somewhere. We are
Wow.
moving forward. A baby step is better than no step at all. So
Nice.
that has been my journey. Those are the tools that I use: mindfulness, cognitive behavior, gratitude journaling, visualization, and self love or self care.
Yes.
I want to I would like to just wind up by telling people that this thing is not cast in stone.
Mm-hmm.
Your thoughts are not cast in stone. Your perspectives are not
Mm-hmm.
cast in stone.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to evolve. So it means that where I am today is not where I'm going to be tomorrow.
Yeah.
And it is a journey. Self-awareness, self-improvement is a journey. Getting to be the best of you is a journey. The Bible says we are moved from glory to glory.
Yeah.
The beauty of you
Yeah.
moving from glory to glory is that we are moving higher and higher every single day, every single moment. So it's important to have an open mind and an open heart.
Yeah.
Mind, because you're going to learn things you never knew before.
Mm-hmm.
Like my time at D.L.C. If I had
Mm-hmm.
known these things when I was a high school girl,
Mm-hmm.
I would not have given up, because I remember one time in high school, just before my A levels, just before the main exam, actually, I was going back to school third term, and somebody stole my bag just as I was
Mm-hmm.
carrying, reporting on
Mm-hmm.
opening day. But this is what was in my bag. My bag was
Mm-hmm.
had all my summary notes.
Yeah.
I had prepared. Now I was ready. This is the last lap. The last lap of the track race. I'm going to sit for my exam. Now, if I'd known what I know now, I would not have given up. But for me, because
Mm-hmm.
those things were lost, I gave up. And that was sad, because by giving up, I didn't do as well. But if I
Yeah.
had gone through the training and I knew the things I know now from D.L.C, I would have remembered, hey, I've studied for 2 years. The stuff is in
Mm.
my brain.
Mm.
And really, all I'm doing is retrieving information that I already have.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's just important to learn that, to just accept that we have the potential God given, and we
Yes.
have the power. Two things we have potential, all of us, in equal
Mm-hmm.
measure, and we
Mm.
have power, all of
Yeah.
us, in equal measure, to determine
Mm.
the life that we were called to be.
Wow.
So let's live our life knowing
Awesome.
that the way we think is just
Yeah.
exactly the way you're going to get it. What you see in your mind is what you will get. The power
Wow.
lies with you. Yes.
Oh wow! Thank you so much, Coach. Oh, this is
Yes.
amazing. Thank you. I know we can
Yes.
go on, and I like the fact that you're so loaded. I like that. I like that. You're
Thank you.
prepared. I'm telling you.
Thank you,
Now,
Coach.
for your ideal client, how can they connect with you? Can you share maybe a way, someone listening to you and they are saying, I would like to walk with you that journey towards my
Mhm.
breakthrough and use those tools you've mentioned? How can they get in touch with you?
Oh, they can call me. My number is
Mm.
0722
Mm-hmm.
626
Mm-hmm.
728.
Yes.
So that we can schedule an appointment and a
Yeah.
session. They
Okay.
can also send me an email on my email address. They can use my
Mm-hmm.
personal one. It is
Mm-hmm.
patience.mombi
Mm-hmm.
at gmail.com.
Nice. And Mumbi means
Yes.
creator. Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome.
Let's create.
Let's
Yes.
create. Awesome. Well
Yes.
done. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Coach.
Thank,
As always,
thank you.
thank you for being here, and I'm looking forward to host you again. This is amazing, and I'm sure
Thank you, Coach.
our viewers have gotten something. You've taken notes, and you've gotten something that can begin to trigger change and progress, and so you can
Mhm.
unleash that potential God has placed in your heart. So thank you so
Mhm.
much. The Lord bless you. Let us know your takeaway from this conversation on the comment section below this video. I'm also going
Mhm.
to leave the contacts for Coach Patience, and also my own link, so that if you want to connect with us, you can connect with us. If you want to become a coach following Coach Patience footsteps, I'll leave a link there for Destiny Life Coaching, where you can fill a free consultation session, and I'll be looking forward to seeing you. Thank you, and God bless.